Another great show, another great morning, kicking off the week. One of my favorite coaches, Coach Montanez. What's going on, Monarch football? Let's talk Monarch football. How's the week, Coach?
Doing good, man. We have homecoming this week. We excited. Played a tough game on Friday. So looking forward to this game to fix what we need to fix and move forward with the schedule we have left.
Talk about it a little bit. You had another one of those where you guys play tough competition and stepping up to play the big boys. What was it like? And take us through that game a little bit.
Um I think we prepared our kids mentally to play that game. Our kids did not play down to their competition at all. Chaminade just showed that they have some of the best athletes in the world.
Mm.
And they made some big plays when they needed to. We had three chances in the red zone. We got one score. We had two others that, fell through short. We wish we had them back, but you know how that goes. You got to execute. You got to do well in the red zone. If you're trying to win big games, you know what I mean. And I still believe our kids did a really good job representing what we do. They drove down the field versus one of the best defenses in the county. And it comes at the end of the day. It's just about making those few plays. You wish you had them back, but it is what it is. You got to keep moving forward. You got to learn from them.
I think that's one of the things that you learn from doing this as long as I have and talking to coaches like you who are on the elite level is you look at these games as we got a chance to measure ourselves instead of we walk away and we lost and that's the end of the conversation. It's hey, it is what it is. We saw where we are and we saw where we need to get. So I think I applaud you and obviously Coach Davis and Monarch staff for understanding the measuring stick process in that. And what do you take away? What positives were you able to take away from that Chaminade game?
I was able to take away from our defense. Our defense gave up like two really big runs, but the entire game they limited Chaminade's passing game. They were able to stay with their tempo. JJ got an interception to start off the game versus Chaminade against that freshman quarterback that's looking elite. Our defense was able to stop Chaminade a couple times in the backfield, stop him on fourth down, was able to stop him on a field goal attempt. It's just those little things really show because again, like I told you before, when you're playing teams like Chaminade, you got to take your little wins
Yeah.
and you got to keep trying to build off those every single drive. Because when you're coaching and playing against an elite team, you every little moment, every little play matters. Every mistake you make matters. And we learned that the hard way throughout that game. And I think they learned too that we're just not no scrubs
Yeah.
from North Briar that don't play nobody. Like, we're up here, we're battling out good teams week in, week out. And I know they gave us a little more respect than they thought at the end of that game.
I think that's the big thing, coach, is that you guys have honestly the first game of the season, even going back and showcases in the past, have earned that respect from these teams that you're playing that are obviously a step above. And you talked about your defense, which let's talk about that a little bit. Deshaun Miller, who's playing really, really well for you guys, who's got 5 sacks on the season, 36 total tackles, 13 tackles for loss. Jaden Jocelyn, who's also playing well, I think leading you guys in tackles this year, 43 tackles. Who are
Mhm.
some of those, what are you most proud of with that defense right now overall?
I'm just really proud of our seniors right now. A lot of these kids have came together and started to understand how to play together, how to play defense together, how to play into the scheme. And I'm really proud of the coaches too, KP, Pat, Coach Pickett, and Coach Davis, and also Tony Hall. I forgot about him.
Mhm.
And them just building a very successful defense that's getting better every week. And when you see their growth and the improvement week in and week out, we couldn't tackle very well week one.
Hmm.
But every single week we have gotten better. This week it was like really just one tackle, and Cooper just blew right by it, scored a 90-yard touchdown run. But it's about improving, and a lot of these kids, they're not your 5-star linebackers, they're not your 4-star safeties, but these are kids that are making plays in and every week, in and out. And I'm just very proud of them against the competition that we're playing. It shows a lot of improvement and showing their growth. Deshaun has done an amazing job being a leader in that front seven. And JJ, being a senior himself and being last year the kid he was at nickel and safety, he's continuously and continue to grow every single week. And I'm very much just proud of them, and I want to see how this season ends with them. I think our story's not done yet. The chapter's not written yet, and I think it's going to be a good one once this defense is fully connected and they're making the best plays at the best possible moments when it comes to the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think that's where you guys did such a good job in the games that I've been able to see, anyways, is complementary football. When your offense is clicking, your defense is clicking, and your you guys are a special group.
Mhm.
So switching over to that offensive side a little bit, which we talked about last week. Um, Lopez is he's still tearing it up on that offensive side of the football with 1,600 passing yards and all those rushing yards he's got. Um, what is he still able to bring from a quarterback standpoint that is so special? Because he's got that it quality, at least to me, when I've had the chance to talk to him. So what has been
Mhm.
special about him to this point?
I think when you look at a player like him and what he does in the offensive system, the offense runs through him.
Hmm.
His ability to hurt you with his legs, his ability to get the short yardage, his ability to throw a beautiful deep ball. He can literally zip the ball anywhere across the field if it's dry.
Hmm.
We learned
Hmm.
that this week too, but it's very hard for a lot of quarterbacks in high
Oh
school to
yeah.
throw a wet football, even
Hmm.
in the NFL college level. But Tino he makes our offense move. It's a well-oiled machine when he's clicking at all cylinders.
Hmm.
His ability to read a defense, his ability to read the RPO, see what's open, and that's still a great showing from Coach Calvin Davis and Zach Poole, getting him to understand how to read defenses and getting him to that next level of his game.
And we talked about that, and I think that's one of those things in talking to coaches and having done it myself and seeing some things. You had a wet game against Chaminade, and I think sometimes those great opportunities for players to be able to hear a little bit more of what coaches say, where we got to make sure we can run the ball. You never know what's going to happen, and we got to be balanced. You guys have three players right now who are over 100 yards rushing between Lopez, Paschal, and Farrington. So, what is it that you're now going to be able to talk about and do with your rushing with your running attack between now and the end of this season, regular season, the end of October?
Well, we're still trying to find our identity. Every year when we have a new quarterback, new running backs, we're trying to figure out what complements them.
Hmm.
In this game against Chaminade, we did rush for over 125 yards, and it was getting Keyshawn the ball, the sophomore running back, and and Tino did a little bit too with his legs outside the pocket, running for a couple first downs, and it's just trying to get the offensive line, figure out what's their strengths, what's their weaknesses, running the best run plays for them, while also what's best for our running backs. If your running back's not very good at running outside zone, then you want to stick to inside zone.
Sure.
If you're telling them to go counter and then you're trying to loop the defensive end or log him or try to hit it inside, you're gonna, go over those type of techniques and steps, what it takes for your running back to get there. And you're gonna add a couple wrinkles to your offense to make sure that when you're reading that defensive end, that he's not cheating the play every play, or the linebacker's not cheating, or this safety's not cheating, because we're putting a couple other threats to make sure these dudes can play us honestly in the run game.
So we're getting close now. We're in October, and our conversations now start looking at finishing up and how we want to mentally get our guys ready. You guys still, I mean, it's not like you guys can relax. Obviously, going into the rest of your regular season, between Coral Springs this week, you got St. Thomas still waiting in back there somewhere. You got Piper, got Ely still. So what are you still telling your team? Um, to keep them focused during this month of October, close to the playoffs?
Right now, it's talking about playing healthy football, staying healthy. There's been years that in October we have lost a key piece to our team going into the playoffs. Secondly, we're going week by week. You know what I mean? You cannot overlook any team in the week of October. This is where people get upsetted. This is when people start playing bad football because they get too big headed based on their wins
Mm-hmm.
early in the season. Everybody gets better week in, week out. And the closer you get to playoffs, that's when people start making the most dumbest mistakes possible. And that's what we're not going to try to do this year. We're going to keep improving. We're going to keep our kids level headed and keep them going game by game. Because right now we have Coral Springs on the clock. It's a district game. It's important. We need this win. And then next week we'll talk about St. Thomas when that time comes. But right now, we got to deal with the homecoming game. Get these kids hyped. Go out there, do what we're supposed to do, and then look on to St. Thomas. And again, playing another amazing nationally ranked team, super well coached. Probably has the most coaches on their staff in all of Broward County, and then they probably have the most kids on their team depth wise too. So you're playing a full out, complete team, and we're just going to try to not try. We are going to play the best football we can play, and try to see if we can get out with a win.
We had a great announcement for us. I'm excited. We were able to we've been doing this show for a couple of weeks now. Our partner down in Hollywood, Dave and Buster's in Hollywood, saw the
Mhm.
show. They want to be a part of it, and they're now giving our player of the week from each school an opportunity to have an hour of free play there. Dave and Buster's in Hollywood. So we want to thank them obviously, and it's coaches, it's players, it's you guys that they're seeing, and they're seeing the positive feedback we're getting. So last week's game, who is your player of the week from Monarch that we're giving that hour of game free gameplay over at Dave and Buster's in Hollywood, Coach?
Oh, it would be Keyshawn Pasquale, or AKA Baby Chubb. He did amazing out there against Chaminade. I mean, he rushed for over 60 yards, had a 31-yard catch. I mean, he did it all. That he scored our only touchdown too that week, and I'm just proud of him as a sophomore playing against a nationally ranked team, and the way he stepped up when he needed to. It was really impressive, and I really applaud him in his growth every single game in and week out.
Well, we're definitely gonna make sure he gets out there, and we're gonna do this every week so we can keep recognizing you guys. And last question for this week, Coach, what are your keys to the game for this week against Coral Springs?
Consistency, offensive consistency, offensive line play, have to be great, mistake free. Defensively, just getting them off the field for and out, getting better, working on their keys, their techniques, and everything else they need to do so we can mentally prepare for the next week after. And we just gotta do what we're supposed to do, play into our system, play into our strengths, and come out with the W. It's homecoming night, so it's gonna be really big for us, and the environment's gonna be hostile for any visiting team. So, I really want to see what our boys are going to do, and I hope they're excited as I am for this game.
Coach, I love it, and I appreciate as usual the time. And we're gonna talk to you after this homecoming week is over next week, and get into those
100%.
last three games, getting ready for the playoffs for you.
Hey, can't wait. I appreciate you.
Thanks for the time, Coach. Good luck this week.
Good luck, big dog.